And blessed to be with you, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Coming up, more of your feedback about the issues that matter to you. Joined by Chris McKinley now, our old friend from the Invictus Group. Chris, good to have you with us.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. How are you today, man?
Not bad. First of all, want to thank you for your service. And for people that aren't familiar with who you are, more and more people, I mean, look, you might want to move to Idaho. Everybody else seems to be. Could you give us a brief history of your service to our country, sir?
Yes, sir. I was in the Navy for a little over 10 years. I spent my entire career as a Navy SEAL. I was stationed at SEAL Team 8, and then from there I went to Naval Special Warfare Group 2 as a close quarters combat instructor and urban warfare instructor, and then I went on to SEAL Team 18. So that is in a nutshell, and after that I did some private military contract work for a small little company. Some people may have heard of it, called Blackwater. The founder of Blackwater, Eric Prince, was a platoon mate of mine at SEAL Team 8, so there was a long-standing connection there. And usually the progression is guys will either sever contact with the Navy completely and not have anything to do with anything in that line of work, or they'll kind of stay in the contracting business or maybe parlay the SEAL experience into working for the FBI or the Department of Justice in some capacity, or, what have you. So it's the doors are wide open for what you want to do once you reach that pinnacle of a spec ops career. So I chose to do a little bit of both. And, of course, now I'm a fully licensed physician assistant in Ohio and in North Carolina, and I'm doing full-time medicine and some consulting for security and medical consulting on the side. And keeps me busy.
I was going to say, you don't miss a beat. Chris, what is there ever been a documentary or a movie that has come close to what you guys do? I'm always amazed that the people in the special operations community can do everything, and then, when we have a bad day at work, we take it home with us, but you guys can't do that.
You're correct. You have to. They talk about from day one of your SEAL experience. They talk about the ability to flip the switch, because just like a boxer or an MMA guy, you get into that ring and you're at an 8, 9, or a 10, and that's what combat is. That's what training for combat is. You're at an 8 or 9 or a 10. But then when you go home at the end of the day, when that event is over, you have to be able to switch down to a 1 or a 2, because you can't live life in the 8, 9, or a 10 zone. And you also have to have the ability to do that on a real operation. Because when you think about it, you come in, you kick a door open or blow open a window door or a wall, and you got 4 or 5 guys flooding that first area, and you're engaging targets, enemy targets who are trying to shoot you. You're shooting them. And then, 2 doorways down the hall, there may be a 1-year-old child on the ground that you actually pick up and hand it to its mother or get it out of harm's way. And then another room later, you're shooting somebody again. So this says you have to be able to make these instantaneous, correct decisions, and the training that they put us through day one allows for that to happen longitudinally. And, it's the stud athlete, the person who's got the big brain, the big body, the freak athlete. If they can't make those microsecond changes, they don't make it through and they go away. And the program actually screens people in that manner. It's not good enough to be the best athlete or the smartest guy or both. You have to be able to make those microsecond switches in accordance with the situation. And I don't really think there's ever been a movie that truly captures that. Some movies have tried, like the Chris Kyle movie, American Sniper, touched upon some of the transitions that you have to make that don't always happen successfully when you're back home. Act of Valor was another good example, but I don't really think there's a movie that has truly captured that essence, though.
Chris McKinley joining us from Invictus Group. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Just a couple more fanboy questions, then we're going to get into some more serious things, some good things you're doing, as always, Chris. But, when most of us humans, when we don't get 8 hours sleep, or those that embellish in the alcohol, they have a hangover and they come in and they bumble through the things. But sleep deprivation is not only part of the mission, but it's part of the training. How do the special operators and people like you, which are very few, operate on limited sleep, especially through the hard training and these missions where you're out in the field for hours at a time, days at a time?
Well, so the training does front load that success on the back end. So what you learn is that, just as in business or the medical profession, if you're a surgeon or what have you, it takes about 10,000 hours before someone is truly considered an expert. So based on a 40-hour work week, that's about a 5-year period. So they expedite that in the special forces community because of the severity of the training, and you learn that your body is as strong as your mind will allow it to be. The whole mission success, whether it's at an athletic event as a pro athlete or on a combat zone as a special forces guy, is dependent largely upon the functioning of your brain and your belief and your ability to accomplish a mission because of the severe training you've been through. So, the brain is the master and commander of everything, which is actually why I'm doing psychiatry right now as a medical practitioner, because it begins and ends there. So you front load that success with severe training, and you actually realize over time, personally and with your comrades, your compatriots, your teammates, that hey, we're all in this together, and we were all trained severely, and I know what you can do under stress, and you know what I can do, and the proof is in the pudding, and that just makes for a really, really good day when you're downrange in someone else's country and someone's trying to kill you, and it's 3 a.m, and you you just can't run away from that stuff. You have to stand and fight or make the correct decision to allow yourself and your buddies to come home. A lot of it's in the training, just conditioning, physically and mentally.
Indeed. KIDO Talk Radio, our guest Chris McKinley, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. If you were the Secretary of Defense, what would you do concerning what's going on in Afghanistan that isn't covered quite a bit? We just lost 2 folks from the 82nd Airborne recently. Again, special operators know what's really happening, whether they're working now, working for Blackwater, what have you. Based on what you hear in your community, your experience, what would you do? Is there a solution to Afghanistan? Last night, the Democrats were talking about we need to get out, we need to do this, but what do you make of that?
I'm not going to disagree with that. It's been a long and protracted conflict. No one has ever been able to conquer Afghanistan, ever. And I think the solution is you're fighting an ideological war there. It's hard to win hearts and minds when you're trying to you're trying to win their hearts and minds, but someone else is trying to rip those same hearts and minds out. So you're up against 1,500 years of religiosity and bad decisions and bad traditions. That's what you're up against. So I think the sooner that we can completely disengage from Afghanistan, the better. I think the solution there is it's a commerce solution. It's not a military solution. If the people there are employed and they're working and they're making money and no one's stealing it from them, it's a better region. The Taliban is there, Al Qaeda is there, ISIS is there. You've got just a whole bunch of bad actors that are all trying to exert their belief systems on the people in that region. It's very sad to see. I don't have all the answers, but I do believe that we need to just completely extricate ourselves from there and start taking care of our Americans at a better level.
Well, let's move on to that. The state of veterans care in America today. Your assessment, Chris?
It's getting better. It's certainly under the current administration. It's certainly improved. Now healthcare providers in the VA and their subsidiaries can actually be fired, where before that was a near impossibility. So the competence level and the confidence level is increasing because of that. And, I like what I see. I go to the VA. I've been to several, and, I've had a couple of complaints, but by and large, from what I've seen from 10 years ago to today is dramatically different, and it's for the better.
So let's talk a little bit about what you're doing. You're swimming the Hudson River?
The Hudson River. So fully supported by the City of New York, New Jersey State Police, NYPD, FDNY, Harbor Patrol, We've got 35 SEALs that are going to start off in Jersey City. We're going to swim to Ellis Island. From Ellis Island, we're going to swim to the Statue of Liberty. Then we're going to go from the Statue of Liberty diagonally across the Hudson to Battery Park. When we make landfall there, we're going to do some push-ups and some pull-ups, and then we're going to run to Ground Zero. This is all in an effort to raise money for the homeless veterans in New York State through an organization called GI Go Fund. And we've raised, I think, we've crested the $100,000 mark at this point in time. So I've actually switched my my donations to an organization called Suiting Warriors, suitingwarriors.org /donate /. I'm going to give a % of any funds I raise going forward to that organization. They provide free business attire to transitioning veterans so they can look sharp at job interviews. They do resume development. It's a really amazing organization. So I think it goes part and parcel with homeless. Let's get guys and gals off the street. Let's have them look sharp. Let's get a resume developed, and let's get them employed. That's the only way you're going to keep homeless people from remaining homeless. So it's all part of the master plan, and we're excited to do it. The Hudson River is no joke. There's a lot of surface current. There's it's a tidal body of water, so it's going to be a very difficult swim, and I've been training my butt off.
Yeah, I'm worried about like the dead bodies or the pollution or something.
That's what everyone's saying. They're like, hey, you might want to take an antibiotic shot before you get in the water. So, and that's a joke, but obviously there's some truth to that. And from what I understand, though, they've seen a return of a lot of marine life, like porpoises and dolphins. They've seen in the Hudson. It's basically a marine estuary. It rises and falls with the tide, and when you see big animals like that, it's indicative of the fact that the water is becoming cleaner because they're chasing, schooling fish that are going into the same area. So I'm a lot less concerned than I am if I would be doing it 10 years ago. So.
Well, Chris, whatever you have to tell yourself, brother, we're not going to disagree with
exactly. You. Exactly. There is a certain, blissful or cognitive dissonance, perhaps, Yeah. Hey, it can't be any worse than the water I showered in for 5 days in a Haitian jail. I know we weren't going to talk about that, but I actually kind of maybe changed my tune a little bit on it. So maybe ask me a question about that if you're feeling it.
Well, why were you in a Haitian jail?
So I brought a team down to Haiti to support a long-standing contract with the Haitian National Bank. The three pillars of power in Haiti are the president, the prime minister, and the Central Bank of Haiti, or the Haitian National Bank. And those are your three separate pillars of power. Well, I have a friend that's had a long-standing contract for over 5 years with the Central Bank of Haiti to provide physical security and electronic security. And the ancillary secondary duty has always been to support the president of Haiti, whoever that current president may be. So it's a very apolitical position. It's designed to keep the banking institutions safe there from cyber attack, from physical attack, and then obviously whoever in power, if he needs an extra layer of security during a riot, then they assist with that. So at that time, there was heavy riots going on. So my buddy called me. He said, hey, can you put together another team and come down here to help give us some extra support during these riots? I said, absolutely. So, within 72 hours, I spun up some guys that I've used for a while, and we went down there, and we got caught up in this shifting political winds. The prime minister got word that there was another group down there, and he said, let me take this opportunity to create a story. It was a false story. He went on CNN International and basically claimed that we were there to assassinate him and that we were terrorists, mercenaries, and assassins. Of course, this wasn't the case. So, money is king there, cash is king, and he paid off certain members of the Haitian National Police who actually pulled up next to us on the street one afternoon And we're waving at them because we've had a long-standing good relationship where we're taking selfies with the Haitian police. Like Haiti, America, heck yes, safety, security. So we were kind of befuddled when they pointed their guns at us and demanded that we, hand over our weapons to them. So after about a 4-hour standoff in the streets where, we couldn't get the president to contact the prime minister to call off his attack dogs, we actually drove ourselves to the police station and were taken into quote-unquote custody. And, 4 hours on the street turned into 4.5 days in Haitian prison. So, the U.S. Embassy strolls in the room next morning. So now we're about 12 hours in captivity. And the first words out of the regional safety officer's mouth was, look, we know who you guys are. We know why you're here. We know you're legally here. And we know you got caught up in some political BS. So, enact SEER protocol, basically stall, give us time to effect a solution. So that's what we did. And, at the end of 4.5 days, our own government flew us home at their expense on a 777 that was held up at Port-au-Prince until we arrived at a high rate of speed in armored Suburbans with machine guns. So it was exciting. And I tell people, your government does not fly you home in something nefarious in another country. So most of the articles I've read, I wouldn't say most, they all are wildly inaccurate. And we were never charged in Haiti. We were never charged when we came home. We were debriefed by every alphabet agency under the sun upon our arrival in Miami. And that took about 3.5 hours because there was 7 of us. And then we were driven to our hotel, and we flew home the next day to our respective home cities. And that was the end of it.
Chris McKinley joining us from the Invictus Group. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Final question, though.
Yeah.
Man, how crazy is Haiti?
Haiti is it's unfortunate because the people there are amazing. They're beautiful people. They're wonderful people. They're spiritual people. And it's just been raped and pillaged by one politician after another, quite a few of whom are actually Americans, as we know. And I will say this, there's a very bright and beautiful light at the end of that tunnel, and I think some things are going to come out very soon. But I can't really comment on that fully. But just from our time down there, we know what's coming down the pipe, and it's going to be good for the people of Haiti, and it's going to help them heal, and it's going to help Americans heal. So.
Well, Chris, once again, thank you for your service, and really appreciate the exclusive insight, and good luck in the Hudson River, brother.
Thank you so much. And if anyone would like to donate to this event, go to Suiting, Suiting, Warriors, WARRIORS.org/donate/. And 20% of all monies donated for this swim will go to Suiting Warriors Foundation. And I thank you so much for your time, Kevin, and you let me know when I can be on your show again. I always enjoy my time.
Well, thank you, sir, and thank you, Chris. We honor your service and your sacrifice, and again, watch out for those floating things in the river, brother.
Yeah, you got it. It's like a Caddyshack in the pool scene in Caddyshack.
Exactly.
That's not going to be the case.
Take care, Chris.
All right, sir. Kevin, have a great week. I'll talk to you.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Boy, how do you top that one? Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
So, listen, man, nobody heart is more broken watching these kids being abused and mistreated than me or you or anybody else here. It disgusts everybody, disgusts the whole world. But isn't there some other way to deal with that than saying decriminalize the border? Because the thing is, it seems like to me you're trying to solve one problem, which everybody cares about, but then you're creating this other political problem, which is freaking everybody out. So can't you come up with some proposal that just says you can't mistreat these kids and protect the kids without making it seem like you're saying come one, come all across the border? I mean, isn't there some other answer, man? Because your answer is you've got the right motivation to try to protect those kids, but it seems like it's causing political problems.
There we have it. Van Jones laying the smackdown on Julian Castro on decriminalizing people entering the country illegally. Your phone calls next, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. But first, let's get you to work safely and on time. KIDO Talk Radio, traffic and weather together. Good morning, Dave. And I'm Kevin Miller. Good morning, Doug. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let me just say this about Stanton International. Very special event coming up Sunday at 3. It's their grand opening. We invite you to join us there, East Franklin Road in Meridian. Stanton International is a life-affirming movement of women's clinics founded and based right here in the Treasure Valley. Stanton exists to ensure women facing unexpected pregnancies receive compassionate, quality alternatives to abortion. Idaho's newest life-affirming Stanton Women's Clinic is located right across the parking lot from Planned Parenthood in Meridian. Stanton Healthcare is opening this newest and their 4th clinic in Idaho in the fastest-growing city in the nation. If you want to help them out, to pay off the building, to make a difference, to save lives, GoFundMe.com/Stanton-Healthcare-Meridian to make a difference. That's what it's all about here, making a difference. By the way, people are still recovering from the Democratic debates recently. Kristen Gillibrand trying to be the sound check queen, if you will. Senator from New York. She wants to be the soundbite princess.
First thing that I'm going to do when I'm president is I'm going to Clorox the Oval Office. The second thing I'm going to do is I will re-engage on global climate change.
That's just plain mean. Pete in Boise with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning, Mr. Miller.
Good morning, Mr. Peterson.
I have a couple things I'd like to talk about. The first and most important is my attempt to try and save Merritt's.
Actually, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the issues involving the presidential campaign, and that's what you said that you wanted to talk about.
Oh, okay.
By the way, don't you still owe me dinner and all of our listeners dinner because you lost a bet on the election?
I mailed you $20.
You did? I thought you were buying everybody dinner.
Only the ones who contacted me.
I see. All right. Go ahead, please. My apologies.
It's my belief that Donald Trump is a lame duck president, and none of the current 24 bozos pose a threat to him. To me, they remind me of the clown car at a circus. It goes around 3 or 4 times, and then all these bozos jump out, and just when you think there can't be any more, another 6 or 8 jump out with grease paint and the big clown shoes. So he has nothing to fear from the current Democratic candidates. The reason I think he's a lame duck is because of Governor Bill Weld of Massachusetts. I believe he'll defeat Donald Trump for the Republican presidential nomination.
Boy, that is a stretch. Now, you don't really believe that, Pete. You're just doing that to antagonize us.
No, I actually do believe it. Are you familiar with the sinking of the German battleship, the Bismarck?
I am, and I've covered Bill Weld for years in my previous life, so I'm familiar with both parts here, yes.
One of the key factors in the sinking of the Bismarck, perhaps the key factor, was the torpedo from an antiquated biplane torpedo bomber that struck the Bismarck in the starboard steering compartment. And the Bismarck was set up with its anti-aircraft guns for 400-mile-per-hour British Spitfires. The top speed of the string bag was 139 miles an hour, so it couldn't shoot down the string bags. And I've given Bill Weld a new nickname, Governor Bill Stringbag Weld. And it's my belief that on Monday, February 3rd in Iowa, Governor Weld will drop his lone torpedo and damage Donald Trump's steering compartment. Donald Trump has a war chest of $750 billion with a B dollars, but he's not expecting Bill Weld to defeat him in Iowa.
I don't think Bill Weld's going to defeat anybody in Iowa or New Hampshire. I mean, let's face it, Pete. This is just you trying to provoke the audience.
I feel a bet coming on here.
We can go to your beloved Merritt's now. What do you mean Merritt's is going out of business?
The Ada County Highway District, when they expand State Street to 4 lanes, it gets rid of 23 of Merritt's 37 parking spaces.
Boy, that's not good.
No,
it's those
no.
ACHD people.
Shame
on them.
This is the first time I've been unhappy with ACHD. I love battling construction all across Boise every single day. And apparently they have a traffic engineer that follows me, and he knows which routes I take, because on one day it'll be clear, the next day it'll be barricaded. The road will be blocked off. So I'm late to doctor's appointments. I'm late to everything.
Right.
Anyway, I'm trying to raise a little money for Merritt's.
Well, what are they going to do with the money? I mean, are they going to move or what?
No. We have some wiggle room. They with the permission of the canal company, they can pave over the canal that is behind them,
right,
and add some parking spots.
Well, Pete, we need you to call in more often. We appreciate the phone call, and there you have it. Comedian, politician Pete Peterson, who ran for office several years ago. Now, I was just talking about you last night to somebody. Oh, to Terry from State College, Pennsylvania. We were talking about you. Good morning, sir.
Buenos dias, America, and good morning, Mr. Miller. I'm out here on the freeway, hands-free, of course. Boy, what a mess it is out here this morning.
Why? Give us your real-time traffic report.
Well, on the real time, I just went under the underpass here at Meridian CUNA exit. Hey, buddy, stay in your lane. And I'm going to be exiting off on Eagle Road. If I can get over there, it's bumper to bumper, moving between 10 and 25 miles an hour. There's exit 46.
That's about as compelling as Pete's traffic report. We're in big trouble this morning.
I want to say, Mr. Miller, that.
Hello?
I'm here. I want to say that the only rich people got to watch the debate. And that, I don't have cable, so I couldn't watch the debate, so I'm not going to vote for any of them. If they can't go on a NBC or ABC or CBS or one of the others, so Americans that are smart enough not to throw their money away on paid-for TV, that's what ticks me off. They think everybody's got cable, that everybody is wealthy like Miller and can afford those things.
Miller's just never going to retire.
Oh, okay. But yeah.
Miller's not wealthy. Miller's just not going to retire.
Yeah, none of them are going to get my vote, period. Until they wake up and start taking care of real Americans.
Well, maybe you should get free TV with the free college tuition. I'm going to share something with you. Let's get your thoughts. This is Governor I'm a Liberal Inslee from the state of Washington saying, Joe Biden, you're no lib, Joe, with real-time analysis, Liberal Steve on KIDO Talk Radio.
Calls for 500,000 charging stations around the country. So by 2030, we're all electric vehicles. My plan calls for making sure that we have $400 billion invested in technology to learn how to contain what we're doing, creating 10 million new jobs. We will double offshore wind. We will end any subsidies for coal or any other fossil fuel. But we have to also engage the world while we're doing it. We have to walk and chew gum at the same time.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Just to clarify, would there be any place for fossil fuels, including coal and fracking, in a Biden administration?
No, we would work it out.
Okay, now, before we get to Liberal Steve, Governor Inslee jumps in here, and I apologize to Liberal Steve for saying this. These kooks want to get rid of coal and fracking, which allows us to be energy independent. Now Governor Inslee saying it's the end of the world as we know it, and then semi-award-winning commentary from Liberal Steve on KIDO Talk Radio.
We would make sure it's eliminated and no more subsidies for either one of those, any fossil fuel.
We cannot work it out. We cannot work this out. The time is up. Our house is on fire. We have to stop using coal in 10 years. And we need a president to do it or it won't get done. Get off coal. Save this country and the planet.
Dude, Biden is just looking at this guy going, who's this kook? I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, but he's not a kook. He's talking reality along with AOC. I mean, come on. I'm sitting out here watching all these stupid cars, including myself, putting emissions into the air for our grandchildren to come. I look to see Boise. I leave the Wilder area, and I get halfway, and all I see is this orange smog over this wonderful city called Boise. And, and since I left Boise, this is the God's truth. Swear on a stack of Bibles in my mother's grave. I have not had a sinus infection or a sore throat since I left Boise, Idaho. That's one of the things they won't tell you, that St. Luke's throat cancers have gone through the roof in the last 15 years in Boise, Idaho. So
what does that have to do with what does that have to do with the topic at hand here?
Fossil fuels, go ahead.
Here's the deal. Why don't you just contact your friend, the mayor, Mayor Ribboncutter, and let him know about it?
I don't know. He's got to get his DVDs back to the library on time. But paying those fines.
There's no fines anymore.
I guess that was Napa.
Hold on. Let me put it to you. Let me. By the way, for those that you don't know. The reason why I know so much about the library is Liberal Steve used to work at the library. And as a joke, he would send me pictures of, well, do you want me to continue with this, or do you want to spell it out, what you saw at the library?
Well, it's a public place. So, yeah, I would take pictures of people drooling all over their desks that they commandeered. And they'd be outside the door and in bundles of about 30. And they'd all gush in and run up, grab a computer so they could do their Facebook thing. And I'll tell you right now, there's a few of them that were probably doing things on there that they shouldn't have been doing. In fact, there were more than a few of them. So that's where your tax dollars are going.
And we need a new library so they can have a new computer.
Why not spend $100,000 on a little tiny building with little cubies? With curtains they could draw, and each one could go into their little cubie with a computer. It'd be a lot cheaper.
We're not going to subsidize pornography with taxpayer dollars, sir.
Oh, I didn't say pornography.
What'd you do in those booths then?
Well, they do all kinds of things. They contact people that have illicit things for sale.
They don't have any money. They're homeless.
Oh, yeah. That's the other thing. Have you ever seen a Mexican-American or an immigrant sitting on the corner asking for money? It's always white dudes and white women.
Thank you, Liberal Steve. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. You're listening to Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Time to go back to your phone calls. Ron Grant joining us, the original Safer Money specialist. Ron, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How we doing there?
Yeah, not bad. I'm just thinking about Meatloaf. You're a big music guy. You remember Meatloaf? You down with the loaf and all?
Sure, I remember him.
Yeah, I mean, a big Broadway show based on the music of Meatloaf, and I'm already figuring out how to get there because I'm such a dope when it comes to Meatloaf. But we've got just kind of Kind of crazy. Let's talk a little bit about you. Coming up Saturday, 2 to 3, you're going to teach people how they can save their hard-earned money so maybe they can go see Meatloaf or have that life or vacation of their dreams.
That's true. We're going to be talking Saturday about how what the main problems are of the 401k plans. You know, the 401k was never really designed to be a retirement plan. We're going to talk about that on Saturday. So make sure you have your pencil and your paper ready. Good education. And, you know, knowledge is power, Kevin. No one's ever gotten mad at me for giving them education. So tune in.
And obviously, car shows. You love the cars. You love Idaho. What have you learned so far?
Hey, we had a great show and shine yesterday at Albertsons on Eagle and State Street. Met a lot of nice guys and gals with their cars. Had a fun time. Saturday is going to be from 9 to 11 over at the Village. They're going to have the cars and coffee at Meridian. So I may try to go over there too. But lots of stuff out here, which is going to be great. I'm really happy to be here in the Treasure Valley.
Well, and it really comes down to the idea of security and safety and keeping that money 100% safe.
Yep, financial planners don't like me because we don't charge fees and we keep it safe. You know, we get to participate in some of the upside of Wall Street, but never the down. And unfortunately, they can't say that. So let's keep that money 100% safe. We give you pillow money where you can sleep at night knowing that you can't lose that hard-earned money you worked for.
And Ron Grant, finally, if people want to give you a call for a good time, well, no, to find out more, what can they do?
208-660-1372.
Ron Grant, we will see you and hear you this Saturday on KIDO Talk Radio.
All right, you guys have a good day.
Thank you. Great to talk to Ron. Traffic and weather together. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Dave. And I'm Kevin Miller in the morning. Max in Garden City, welcome.
Oh, fine. Good morning to you. I was just listening to our friend Liberal Steve, and I find it unbelievable how anybody can be so weak-minded as to be shamed. He shames his race. He's ashamed of being Caucasian. We have an entire group. What was that thing you showed on the air yesterday? The woman who led a bunch of people in almost a prayer of race shaming.
Yep.
Who was that?
That was Marianne Williamson. Is that right? That's her name.
Yeah.
Running for Democrat, the Democratic nomination.
What would ever happen if somebody said, "I want every black person out here to raise their hand," and led them through a race shaming prayer like that? We're lacking a certain equality. We've become ashamed of ourselves, of our lives, of our culture. Well, not us, but people like the Liberal Steve. He crawls out from under his cardboard box in the morning, and all he can think of is how ashamed he is to be white. There has to be some psychological disorder, something we can label, besides just saying cuckoo bird. Kevin, you keep up the good work, and you be proud of your heritage, whatever it is. You know what? Let me close with this. When someone says, I'm English American, I'm German American, I'm Black American, they need to turn that around. I'm an American Black. I'm an American of German descent. How can you be African Black when you've never set foot in Africa? How about being an American of African descent? Be proud of your race, be proud of your heritage, but be proud of the fact that you're an American.
See, I don't play that. I just say I'm an American. When people, because of my looks, they assume I'm an Irishman or German or whatever. And I've always been, I don't need to identify whatever ethnicity. I'm just blessed by God. We're all blessed by God to be an American. As you know, when we start hyphenating things, we start separating ourselves from others.
It's a divisive thing.
It is.
This DNA, you send off a package and they tell you all, what a waste of time and money.
Yep.
Like, who cares if you have Scottish, German, Russian, Irish, African? Who cares? You are who you are. And if you want to be somebody, identify as being an American.
Thank you, Max. God bless. Fox News Now, KIDO Talk Radio.